What's up, everybody? In today's video I want to discuss the book Ultralearning by Scott Young. So this book is specifically about learning, but not just any regular learning. It's obviously about ultralearning. And ultralearning is a strategy for acquiring skills and knowledge that is both self-directed and intense. So this isn't like something else where it tells you to go to school or anything like that. It's that you do by yourself, and that is obviously very intense, and theoretically it should be in a shortened time span. And the author, Scott Young, the reason why he wrote this book is he did a MIT challenge where he took the MIT computer science major and tried to pass it within a year, and he was successful. And not only did he do the courses, he also took the tests and passed them. And you can see it on the internet. He has like the syllabus and like how he covered everything on there. And that's also how he starts the book. The book starts out with him talking about the challenge. And then he goes into how you can become an ultra learner, and he has a set of steps of how to become an ultra learner, and then that's how the book is structured. It's structured in those steps, and the steps are meta learning, and meta learning is basically planning out your ultra learning. Step 2 is focus. Step 3 is directness. Step 4 is drill. Step 5 is retrieval. Step 6 is feedback. Step 7 is retention. Step 8 is intuition, and step 9 is experimentation. And some of these are self-evident, but some of them aren't, like directness and drilling. A lot of people won't know what that means if you first look at it. And that's like kind of one of my biggest tips out of this is be direct with your learning. And what that means is like go directly to the source. For example, if you want to learn a new language, don't just do flashcards or Duolingo. That's something he talks about in here. He says you have to like go out and speak conversations. For example, if you go to a country like France and you want to speak French, you shouldn't just chill in your apartment in France and keep to yourself and go on your app or even go to lessons. You need to be speaking conversations every single day and constantly trying it. And he also gives an example of a guy who did Toastmasters and became like a Toastmasters world champion in less than a year. And the guy did it because he was constantly giving speeches, and he'd go to middle schools and get feedback from people. So it's like, don't try and do everything by reading a book. You have to actually go out and test out whatever you're doing. For like computer science, it'd obviously be like constantly programming and working with other programmers. And another way to do this is by like doing little projects. So instead of just reading a book and having a goal of reading a certain amount of books, you could actually have a project for computer science. There's a person in here who built a video game, so like maybe you want to build a video game to show that you have enough skills to master computer science. So I mean, that's what really the book is about. It's about learning and learning really quick. And there's not like a ton of groundbreaking stuff here, mainly because if you think about, we all want to like learn how to do things faster. It'd be awesome, right? And you want to learn some sneaky technique where you can keep your life the way it is and still become an ultra learner. But it's not really that way. You have to buckle down, you have to focus, you have to work hard. And the way I think about it from this book and then a lot of the other books I read is you have to like be hyper focused in an area and sort of absorb yourself in that area. Like if you're learning a language, it helps to be in that country and speak the language every day. And if you can't be in the country, then do it virtually. But whatever you choose to learn, you have to be fully absorbed. And he goes through the ways you do this, like planning. A lot of people, when they're learning something, you don't plan ahead of time. So he gives you steps of how to do that. And then being direct. A lot of us won't be direct when we learn. And if you think of the ways that most of us learn, it's like in a classroom or just reading a book, and it's passive. So you're not really being direct. So that's another piece of good info in here that I liked. Another good tip that I really liked about this book too was that it trying different levels of arousal when you're studying. So some subject matters that you try to learn are just going to be like extremely boring. My computer science is probably boring, right? So it's like be in an environment where your mind is going to be a little bit more aroused. For example, like going to a coffee house where there's like busy people around, or if you're by yourself in a library or something like that, you're more likely to like nod off or get distracted. And he also gives tips on how to focus, get rid of the stuff around you like your phone and any type of things that distract you. But that's with like anything you want to do in your life, right? Like it's a self-help channel. a lot of the tips I give in here, like how to, focus and avoid distraction, it's all the same. Like if you want to get things accomplished in your life, you have to really try and avoid distraction. And same thing with learning. And here it's planning and it's avoiding distraction that's going to help you learn. Another good tip that he had was like taking notes. So if you want to learn something and you are reading from a book, like after you read a section, take notes. Take notes after the section and just do that by free writing. So what that is like just write down your thoughts of what you remember from the section so that memories can start forming in your head. And then another really good tip he had on notes was write your notes in the form of questions. And like good questions, not like, what did this chapter say? You have to write like a good question, and then that way you can make like flashcards later on, or you can test yourself later on. And it's just having those questions in your mind will also be helpful. And another good tip in here was like psychology, sort of like educational psychology, is you have to view yourself as being able to constantly learn. You can't view yourself as like stuck in time and you can't learn anymore. Like, when people get older, we just run over the book, Late Bloomers. It's easy to say like, I'm old, I can't learn anymore, like I can't get any more fit or anything like that. You can get stuck in these mindsets. To be an ultra learner and like an infinite learner, you have to view your knowledge as like constantly growing. And especially if you follow the ultra learning method, like you can be constantly learning through your lifetime. It's because you'll be sharpening your skills of how to learn. You won't be like everybody else that just like gets distracted and doesn't learn anything new. And that's another thing too that he mentions in this book is like, why would you want to be an ultra learner? Number one, you probably want to make more money, right? Or you're just interested in becoming better. Maybe it's a hobby you have. So just think of something like scuba diving or photography that you'd want to get better at, and ultra learning can help you get better at it. And you decided how deep you want to go in the meta learning process and the planning it out of like what specific area of photography or scuba diving you want to get better at, and you set goals in there. But also another area where ultra learning can help you, as I said before, is like earning money. But like in your job, technology is replacing things that we do faster and faster, and so average is no longer good enough. And it's a lot of in these self-help books, like Late Bloomers, the author in there, he just mentioned about how like if you're older, you can't try and do things that young people are doing, or you can't try and do things that everybody else is doing, because younger people are going to be good at that. You have to try and do the difficult things, and trying to do the difficult things is going to be difficult. And so you need the tools to be able to learn them. For anything technology based, you're going to have to be able to learn it quickly, and being average isn't going to be good enough. So a way that you can learn these new tools is by ultra learning. And that's what Scott Young talks about. Like, you can't be average anymore, and ultra learning is the way of the future. The people that set themselves apart from not only other people, but also as technology, is you have to be able to learn quickly, and you have to have these good cognitive skills that are going to be valued in the future. This book has tons of great tips and stories, and it's backed up by like educational science. So I really recommend picking it up. It has a lot of great tips. I actually summarized some notes that I took, and I'll put them on my website, and I'll put a link in the description here. And I do plan to implement this in my own life. I have a couple of things that I want to learn and get better at, and try and master. And so if you have something that you want to get better at, let me know in the comment section what you're going to use this on. And I thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe and like this video.